Housing crisis is fairly bad at the moment.
Realistically, I'll never be in a bracket to buy a house. I don't even think I'd be able to afford a bike shelter.
There's a budget around the corner, there's a general election on the horizon, so I've come to Athlone with my trusty whiteboard to ask people here what age they think they'll be before they can afford to buy a home. I don't think I'm going to make it as an architect, but it looks like a nice starter home to me.
29.
32.
I'm gonna put 126.
Okay, so you're 36 now. You think in just under a century you might be in a position
in
to
this
buy.
in this climate probably, yeah.
You're living in Australia now. Was that a motivation for you to go to Australia?
Yeah, well, that was kind of the main reason to go make money and then come home and buy a house, settle down here.
And do you like the lifestyle out in Australia?
Yeah, I love the lifestyle, but it's not forever. Like,
ultimately, you want to come home.
because I want to be able to be at home with everyone.
Is your mother desperate to have you back?
Well, yeah. Yes, I am.
Do you think enough is being done to help young people get...
Here in this country? No, absolutely not, no. We emigrated, myself and my husband, 30 odd years ago, and I went to America, and we had to do the same, but it wasn't as bad. We just went because the work was out there.
Yeah.
It's like as if it's never moved on. Ireland's still stuck where it was 30, 40 years ago.
Do you think it's going to be another 11 or so years before you're in a position to buy a house?
It's definitely more difficult than it was a couple of years ago. Like, housing crisis is fairly bad at the moment. Like, I was living in Galway for college, and it was always a struggle every year trying to get accommodation and stuff because like the rent's expensive and everything. So.
You're from Athlone. Would it be your ideal scenario to end up being able to buy a house in Athlone?
I would genuinely love to buy a house in Athlone. Like, there is obviously a few properties around Athlone, but when you look at the price of them, it kind of scares you a little bit, kind of like, no. And then you know people who are over abroad and they tell you it's this amount of price, you're like, what am I doing here really? I think it's the people who are running the country at the moment. But with saying that, if someone else starts running it, are they going to do the same thing as well? Like, so I just think it's a continuous cycle, really. Like.
Hello, how are you? Thanks very much.
I don't think it's feasible for people, you know, unless you're on a serious salary in this day and age, or you're willing to put yourself into serious debt. People are thinking differently. I think people have decided to start thinking differently about that. I could see myself going to Spain, where the cost of living is cheaper and
it's not raining.
And it's not raining. Nice one.
So it's been a good day so far in lovely Athlone. We've spoken to a lot of interesting people, a lot of interesting stories. I was probably expecting it to all be pessimistic, and there has been a lot of pessimism. There's been a bit of apathy too, I would say, but there has been optimism as well. Some of the people we spoke to have already managed to buy a home before they were 30 now. They both acknowledged that they had some circumstances that helped in that matter. So Amy, you were 28 when you bought your own home.
We were very lucky just because we actually bought my parents' house, like my home house, so they were going to move into the city. They were downsizing, so we were very fortunate in that situation. Most of my friends, my colleagues, I'm an optometrist, they've all moved abroad. My brother's in Vancouver. So just given the situation at the moment, there's no way. Like, even I've had discussions with my fiance. I think for us it would have been at least another 10 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Were you frugal savers or?
No, it was very hard. I'm terrible at saving. Sophie was good at saving. We were lucky enough that we were able to put the mobile in the back of my mother's house, so I suppose we were able to save on rent that way.
We're going to try to speak to a few more people before we head for the hills with our trusty whiteboard. Perfect. So Depeche, you've wrote down between the ages of 31 and 33, so
yeah.
You told me before we started recording that you're 28, so within the next 4 to 5 years you'll be hopeful that you'll be in a position to buy your own home.
A few years ago people were able to afford a house because it was 150 or 120,000, but the same houses nowadays are just about 200,000.
What do you think of the house I've drawn? Do you think you'd be willing to live in that house?
Yeah, hopefully the one I'm getting is a bit better.
Okay, so you're both 21?
Yeah.
So you reckon within the next decade you'll hopefully be in a position to purchase a house?
Yeah, hopefully.
I feel like we don't have to primarily focus on it at the moment, but it's not something that's completely out of my head. It's like, it's there, but it's not like a main focus.
Different things to worry about getting through college and all, but I suppose it's something in the back of your head, like, for the future.